Welcome to this tutorial. Today I'll demonstrate a method for writing text onto our canvas, a behavior to type text onto our canvas. We'll also place text inside a shape, and then we'll place it along a path. Let's get started. We'll start by creating a new file from Project Browser. Make sure Motion Project is selected. We'll use the preset Broadcast HD 1080, 29.97 frames per second, and I was thinking of 10 seconds, but I'm going to bump it up to 15 seconds. Click Open. Now I'll adjust my canvas. It's way out of frame here. Let me just bring it in so that you can see the entire workspace. And now we'll go and fit my canvas so that you see the entire canvas. I'll also follow best practice and save my file before I go any further. I'm going to call it Text Path 2 and click Save. Now we'll choose our default group, go to our library, select Generators, choose Color Solid and Apply. Let's open our inspector and change that color to something a little more reasonable. Okay, I'll rename this group Background, and then we'll lock it down. Let's create a new group and call it Text. I'll create a second group, and I'm going to call this one Beziers. One more group, right click, new group, and I'm going to call this one Shapes. With your text group selected, go ahead and choose your text tool, and now click anywhere on your canvas and I'll type the word thanks. Switch to my transform tool, make sure my text is selected. I'll come over to the format tab of my text panel, and now I'm going to change the font. I'm looking for one, I think, yes, it's Bradley Hand. Yes, no, it is. It's Bradley Hand. Okay, so I'll slide the size up, but you'll see that it only goes so far. I can still expand the size of my text by dragging out the lower right handle while holding down the Shift key. Okay, I'll select my text. I'll come over, click on the center button, and now I'll go to my Properties tab. And under the position, I'm going to reset those parameters, and that'll center up my text. Terrific. Now I'll select the Bezier group, and this time I'm going to choose my paintbrush tool. Let's open the HUD. You can see we can change the color to anything we want. That doesn't matter. I'm going to up this to about 33 pixels. I'm not worried about the pen pressure because I'm not using a pen, I'm using my mouse. But I do want to make sure that Write On is selected, Smoothing is selected, and my shape style is Basic Solid. Alright. Now I'm going to create a Bezier for each portion of a shape. And in this case, I'll have 2 Beziers for the letter T. But for the rest of them, they'll be single Beziers onto themselves. So I'll select and hold down my mouse and trace over my letter, and when I get to the bottom I'll release the mouse, and that creates a separate Bezier for each letter. So again, I'm just tracing over each letter, and you can see in my layers panel that I'm getting a new Bezier for each letter. All right, let's minimize those or roll them up. Now you will notice that each Bezier shape has its own Write On behavior. We're going to focus on the Write On behaviors next. In this case, I want to work in my timeline. Okay, so let's see what happens if I run it as it is. You can see all of my Beziers are being drawn on the screen, beginning at the same time. They end different timing, but they all begin at the same time. So I'm going to switch that up. I'll go to about 20 seconds in the timeline. With my first write-on behavior selected, I'll type in the letter O. I'll go to the next write-on behavior and reposition and set its timing. So essentially, I'm starting one behavior directly after the other, and they're each about 20 seconds long. And again, these are only the behaviors we're adjusting. We are not adjusting the Beziers themselves, just the write-on behavior. We'll finish these off quickly. Now let's play it. Aha! Now you can see the Beziers are being drawn on one after the other. Perfect. But it's not the Beziers that I want drawn on my canvas. It's the text. I chose that text font because I like the texture. So let's choose the text. We'll right-click on it and add an image mask. And now I'm going to drag that Bezier group onto the mask source. Now when I run it, you can see that it's the text itself that's actually being written onto the canvas. Before I do anything else though, I think I want to go in and change the color of the text. So I'll choose text. I'll come over and choose my appearance tab. And now I'm going to change the face color from white to something a little more dramatic. There we are. Awesome. Okay, let's move on. I'm going to move my playhead just a little bit down my timeline, a little further along. For the sake of keeping things tidy, I'm going to make sure that everything that I've created thus far all ends at the same precise moment on my timeline. So I'll select the Beziers. That's the group. Now I'll key in the letter O from the keyboard. I'm going to come down, choose the text, and repeat that same keying sequence. I'll select text and click on the letter O, or type the letter O. Okay, looks good. I'll select my text tool again, click on the canvas, and this time choosing the Format tab, and I'll come down to the text box. I'm going to paste in some text that I had copied from a text generator just moments before. Okay. Well, it's not exactly friendly text, so let's go ahead. Before we move further, we'll change the color so that we can see what's happening. Okay, let's just go with a nice blue. Perfect. Let's close that out. Now if you look at the text, you'll see that it starts on our canvas, but it continues for what seems like forever. Let's change that up. We'll choose our text, we'll go to the Layout tab, and we'll change the type to paragraph. At this point, I can modify the text frame by clicking on the handles and dragging them to reposition. But even that seems a little unreasonable given how long the frame is. There is an easier way. All right, let's make sure our frame is selected. And again on the Layout tab, this time I'm going to look at my margins. Let's decrease that right margin And as you can see, that easily pulls everything in. That looks a little more reasonable. I'm going to move my playhead slightly, then I'll select my text object, and this time I'm going to key in the letter I. That's going to bring my text object in at that precise location of my timeline. Okay, but notice that it all popped onto the screen at once. I really want it to appear as though it's being typed on. And to do that, I'll select my text and go up to the Behaviors button, choose Text Animation, and Type On. This actually starts the animation from our playhead and continues to the very end of our project, but I want to move that in a bit. So let's adjust that on our mini timeline. Now let's replay. Oh, maybe another adjustment. Maybe that was a little too fast. I still want to see it actually type itself on. Okay, maybe a little more reasonable. Now I'll make sure that everything in this group actually exits stage left at the same time. I'll position my playhead, select my text group, select the text object, and I'll key in the letter O. Let's move on and create a shape filled with text. With the shape group selected, I'll go to the library, click on Shapes, find and select Heart Suit, and click on Apply. I'll look at my shape in the inspector. I think I'll choose to leave the fill white. I'll choose not to give it an outline, but I do want to resize it. So I'll click and drag on the shape handles while holding down my Shift key, and that'll maintain my aspect ratio. Now I'm going to create a new group and call this Heart Mask. I'll go down to my text, and I'm going to duplicate my text. That's the lorem ipsum, so there's quite a bit of text available. And I'll rename this Heart Text. Now I'm going to drag that text into my new group. With the group selected, I'll come down to my timeline and reposition it further along. I'll select the Heart Mask group, that's at the group level, right click, and choose Add Image Mask. By default, the Image Mask tab is available. I'll select the mask source well and drag my heart suit shape into that well. When I click on the playhead, I can see that it doesn't appear to be working. At least not the way it's intended. So I'm going to check a few things. There's a couple of things that I can check. Okay, so let's look at the timeline. I need to make sure, first of all, that my shape lives in the same space as my text. I'll move my playhead to the very end, click on my shape, and type in the O or the out. Now you can see how the heart shape appears. Okay, I'm going to move it to the beginning of my mask, and now I'll click on the eye. So I've got my heart shape and my text in the same location on my timeline. What's happening now though is the text is being written outside of my mask. That's an easy fix. I'll click on my mask, and now I'll make sure that Invert Mask is deselected. Let's run it again, and there you have it. We have text within our shape. I still want to show you how we can run some text along a path, but I'm running out of timeline, so I'm going to speed up the video for the next few minutes while I adjust my timeline I'll move things in and give myself a little more space at the end. I'll position my playhead, click on my text tool, click anywhere on the canvas, and now I'm going to type in a sentence. This is a sample line of text. I can lay along a path. Now that's creative. Using the transform tool, I'll select my text. Command Z or Control Z to undo. I'm going to reposition it and resize it so it's easier to see. I'll choose the Layout tab, go to the Layout method, select Path, and now I have path options. You see I have open spline, I've got circle, I can choose rectangle, I can choose a wave, I could choose geometry, which allows me to apply this to a shape I've previously created. For now though, I'll choose open spline and Bezier. When I double click on my text now, you can see, it might be hard for you to see, but I now have Bezier points and associated handles. Now these handles kind of work like a seesaw. If you move one, the other opposing handle moves in the opposite direction. To move only a single handle, select the handle while holding down your Option or Alt key. I'll add the Type on behavior by choosing the Behavior button. I'll go down to Text Animations and click on Type on. I'll modify the length of time I want this Type on to take by dragging the right edge of the Type on handle in the mini timeline. Let's run our project and see what we get. We've written on the word thanks. We've created a paragraph of text. We've created text within a shape, and we've laid text along a path. I hope you've learned something new and that you've enjoyed this video. Thanks for watching, everyone. If you like this video, please hit the thumbs up, share with your friends, and leave me a comment below. If you're new to this channel, please subscribe and click on the bell icon to be notified when new videos are posted. Don't forget to check out our website where you can find other free stuff like seamless patterns, deco toners, Illustrator brushes, and page borders. That's at www.lillizzy.net. Cheers!